In Mark chapter 8, 34 to 38, there's two things going on. One is the claim of Jesus, or accepting the word Messiah. You are the Messiah. And then the second thing is the consequence. You've got the claim and the consequence of the claim. But you've got to read the verses together. Jesus calls the crowd with his disciples, and he said to them, if anyone wants to become my follower, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. For what will it profit them to gain the whole world and forfeit their life? Indeed, what can they give in return for their life or their soul? Those who are ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of them the Son of Man will be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. Jesus was not about to be bullied into a certain position. His claim to be Messiah was not going to be defined by the crowd or even by his closest friends. Was he someone like Elijah who confronted Jezebel and Ahab and the prophets of Baal? Or was he a contemporary version like John the Baptist who confronted Herodias and Herod and all the political power games that went around that scene? And the answer was a flat no. Not Messiah like that. Not a conquering hero. And neither would he follow the lead of well-meaning friends like Peter who wanted him to take an easier path. Jesus identified all that stuff as the ways of man and as a suggestion right from the anti-God camp. But he accepted the call as Messiah. He said, don't speak about it. But he accepted it. But then he immediately starts to redefine it in these words, and the Son of Man must suffer many things. So his picture of God and God's purposes was much bigger than a restoration of Jewish power or the end of Roman authority. And the salvation that he was seeking to bring was so vast that it made the aims of Israel seem paltry and provincial, small-minded. Well, that was the claim. And the consequence of the claim was even more radical. If they wanted to follow Jesus, they have to follow him to Jerusalem. And it was going to be a hard and lonely road, and it was going to end in death and deprivation. A cross. And the Bible emphasizes that that's our route. If we say that Jesus is Lord, if we say Jesus is Messiah, then we have to get online, get behind him and follow him. We have to accept the fact, as Peter did there, that you cannot ever tell Jesus what to do. Right? It sounds stupid when you say it that way, but that's the reality, isn't it? Now, the remarkable thing, the strange thing about the passion, the crucifixion of Jesus, is that good people did it. Good religious people did it. I've got this commentary, he puts it this way. It is not humanity at its worst that will crucify the Son of God, but humanity at its best. The death of Jesus will not be the result of a momentary lapse or aberration of human nature, but the result of careful deliberation from respected religious leaders who will justify their actions by the highest standards of law and morality, even believing that they are thereby serving God. Whoa. We often draw the wrong conclusion from the death of Jesus. We assume that Jesus was condemned by religious leaders of the day because they were hypocrites and didn't really love God properly. But almost the opposite is the case. They thought that they were doing what was right for their country and for their God. They thought they were serving God, and they were dead flat wrong. So we don't always know everything we think we know about what's going on. We can be so wrong when we think we're so right. And that's what's going on here with Peter. He was so wrong, and yet he thought he was right. He didn't want to do the work of the devil. He didn't want to be anti-Jesus. He thought he was being helpful. He thought he was pointing out, actually, if you do this, people will get really knocked. Don't do it. He was pointing out the problems that Jesus was predicting. And when he rebuked Jesus, he wasn't following him. He was trying to remake the Messiah in an image that was more acceptable to him. And we often do the same thing. There's a country western song, I think, that has the chorus, God is my co-pilot. Well, all you can say is, if that's the case, you better swap seats, man. because Jesus will not take second place. He has to be first place. He is either Lord or he is not. Lord means he's number one. And so he comes to this little cluster of phrases. Deny yourself, take up your cross, follow me. And for the first church, for the first people reading this document, the Gospel of Mark, that might mean literally, you must die for this belief. Many of them did. Deny yourself might mean martyrdom. And it certainly meant taking the hard road of discomfort, of accepting that whatever else happened to you in your life, you were going for second-class status, a lack of reputation, lack of financial returns, reduced personal ambitions, lower income bracket, a dip in your social class. It meant all those things, doesn't it? In many countries, it still does. It ain't such great shakes in the UK either. I'm a Christian. Now elect me to Parliament. Because according to Jesus, real life has to be based on something more than self-interest. Denying yourself, taking up a cross, is learning to subject your life choices to the scrutiny of kingdom values. Denying yourself means giving up something of value for the sake of something with a more pressing claim. Now that means something different for all of us, and I guess that's why you have to take this question really seriously. What do you say about Jesus? It's about, what do you do with the choices in your life? What is going to form the criteria for making those choices? And Caesarea Philippi, the place where the false gods reign, the ancient Baal place, the place of Caesar worship, is also the place where we live, and where the choice for who Jesus is has to be confronted. God bless.